Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Anna Crosland. For those of you who are new here, hi, welcome. Today's my birthday and I'm just so thankful and I'm so blessed. Today I actually posted in the community that I am trying to raise money right now to upgrade my camera lens to a Canon 50mm. Supposedly it's supposed to help blur out the background more and focus more on me or the product. It's what a lot of YouTubers use, but they are pretty expensive. They're like $125. So I did post my PayPal if you would like to donate to that cause, to supporting my channel. It would mean so much. I actually did have one person donate so far and her name is Tori. Thank you so much, Tori. When I saw that someone actually donated, I almost cried because to me it's just like, wow, someone actually believes in me enough to donate to this cause of me upgrading my YouTube system here. Because if you do YouTube or you have ever wanted to start one, it can be pretty expensive, not just for equipment. Even though I'm monetized, I don't even make enough money to basically compensate for the products that I buy to review. So it's a lot of balancing. Do I want to spend money on upgrading my channel? Do I want to spend money on actually having something to review for my channel? So it's constantly a give and take. And so I just figured, since it was my birthday, I would reach out to anyone who wanted to support my channel or anyone who believes in me who wants to help with that. So thank you so much, Tori. She also has a Instagram called No Palette Left Behind and she has a really good channel. I hope that you guys go check her out. I'll link her YouTube channel down below. She's really sweet. So thank you again, Tori, so much. That made my whole entire day. So I am doing my first tag on here and this is called the palette tag. I was tagged by Anki a long time ago and let me tell you, if you ever tag me in a tag, guys, I'm horrible at doing anything outside of basically reviews and favorites and stuff like that, first impressions. So when I get tagged in tags, sometimes I'm like, I don't know if I can do it. I don't know. Can I do it? I don't know. But this one is a palette one and I actually saw Butte Bean upload hers and I was like, oh, I think that's the video that Anki actually tagged me to do. And I was like, it's about palettes. I think I can handle this tag, but I seriously have the worst memory. So Makeup by Anki is her channel name. She does a lot of indie makeup brands. She does very colorful looks. I'll post her around here and she tagged me in this video. So go check hers out. I'll link that down below as well. I don't believe she's the creator of this tag, but she mentions in her video who is. Again, I'm horrible at this tag stuff, guys, so please forgive me. So this one is called, what is this one called? This one is called the Eyeshadow Palette Collection tag by Angelica Lyremar. I'm horrible at saying last names. Okay, but let's get into it. So basically, there's a list of questions saying number one, if I would pick an eyeshadow palette in my collection that represents me color story wise, this is the palette that I would choose. It honestly would be the Lizzie McGuire times ColourPop palette. And I'm almost embarrassed to be this is the one that represents me, the Lizzie McGuire palette. Well, first of all, I was obsessed with Lizzie McGuire growing up. But second of all, I think the color story honestly does represent my personality a lot. So you have these bright, fun colors. I feel like I'm just usually a bright, energetic person. And then I also feel like I like to be a little bit unique and bold, but sometimes I like to be a little bit basic, and I like glitter, and so I just feel like overall as a color story it does represent me pretty well. Sometimes I'm loud and obnoxious, but then sometimes I'm a little bit more toned down. So I think that this color story actually represents me pretty well as a person. I do have a first impressions on this palette if you're interested in it. Question number two, if I would pick a eyeshadow palette in my collection that represents me packaging wise. So this one was a little bit harder. I feel like a lot of these palettes are almost like a collection of things that I like or that represents me. I probably gotta say the Club Nebula because I feel like it's a little bit chaotic going on and I feel like this is what my brain looks like inside. There's just so much going on and I'm constantly forgetting things, and I don't know if it's because I have a 3-year-old now, but it's pretty, it's different, it's unique, it's weird, and I'm definitely quirky and weird. And so I think that this packaging represents kind of me in that aspect. Just and it has some shininess, and I'm obsessed with shininess. So I think that overall this just represents me very well. Plus I'm really drawn to blues and aqua colors, so yeah, that's what I think represents me packaging wise. 3, if I would pick an eyeshadow palette in my collection that represents spring. This one's really hard. I feel like I have a plethora of them. I have so many palettes, you guys, but I think, so maybe we'll do a couple. So the Ethereal Bloom 100%, I recently did a first impressions and also paired this with my Clarity Cosmetics palette, and they made a really good companion palettes with each other. But this one, honestly, I look at this palette and I'm just like, spring. This is spring. These are spring colors. You have bright pinks, you have lavenders, you have peaches, and you have a little bit of blue, a little turquoise in there. And to me, those are classic spring colors. You think of floral things and it's called Ethereal Bloom. I think this is a super duper spring palette. With that said, for spring, I've really been enjoying pairing the Ethereal Bloom with the So Mermazing palette from Clarity Cosmetics. Now this has your lighter pastels. This is like spring with a flair, like spring but different. I feel like this is your spring but you want to be a little bit more unique type of spring palette because it has these like duochromes in here. I have a first impressions as well as a tutorial using it, but I really like them together. But if I were to pick one that really represents spring, I think it'd be this one. But I just enjoy using these together to create the perfect spring unique experience. Next is number 4. If I would pick an eyeshadow palette in my collection that represents happy. So to me, I don't really think of this as, oh, this palette just makes me happy. If it's like what makes me happy right now, it's definitely Club Nebula. I'm obsessed with this palette. I always want to use it. I don't always use it, but I just always want to. It makes me happy with all these duochromes and multi-chromes in it. I love it. But when I think about like happiness and what looks happy, I think of yellows, I think of brighter colors, and so I'm actually gonna pick the e.l.f. x JKissa palette because you have like these beautiful bright colors. It is rainbow aesthetic and it is like in order of color, which I think would make people who don't like it to be so random and chaotic happy because it's so put together so well. I think that it's bright colors, it's rainbow, so to me this just kind of represents happiness. Like bright colors, fun colors, you get to decorate your own palette. I don't know, I think it's pretty good quality. This is one that I always think about in the back of my mind too, that I want to use again. There were some shades that I did struggle with, but overall I think it was a pretty nice palette especially for the price. If I would pick an eyeshadow palette in my collection that represents dark or the grungy in me, this is kind of hard because I don't feel like I have a ton of grungy palettes in my collection. It's something that I want more in my collection. Again, it'd probably be Club Nebula because you have these grungier tones down here that you can kind of create murkier type of looks. But then you have these beautiful shimmer accents. And so, I don't know. This to me is probably the grungiest type that I have. I almost said the Milk Cosmetics Gemini, but I feel like those greens, like they are a little bit more grungy green. But I think this you can make even grungier because you kind of have gray tones in there. And you have like, I don't know. This is like grungy and bright at the same time. But I definitely want more grungy types of palettes in my collection. If I would pick an eyeshadow palette in my collection that represents the girly in me, the Jaclyn Hill Volume 2 palette, I know there was some controversy with this one because they failed to mention that this is not vegan friendly, which I think was a big oopsies on their part. But it's actually what I'm wearing today with some duochromes from Cleonade Cosmetics. Cleona, I always call them Cleonade, and I think that this one is just very girly. I mean, I feel like Jaclyn too is kind of a girly girl in spirit. Like she's just always so, I don't know, she's just girly girl to me. And so you have these purples, you have just a lot of bright pinks. I don't know, it's just very girly to me. Because then if you just want to plain neutral it up, you have that too. I wanted to do a girlier eye look today, and that's kind of what I went with. I went with this one. I feel like also the Vivid Rose from Gimme Glow Cosmetics is girly, but a little bit more toned down girly, and I really love this one as well. I feel like these last four are a little bit more grungy mauve, but it's like the girly of grunge on this side. The girly girl grunge side down here, and the I want to stand out in a crowd girly girl up here. So this one as well, I love Give Me Glow Cosmetics, and I love this palette. I've done quite a few videos using this palette. I'll post all the videos I have up to using these palettes. The next one says, if I would pick an eyeshadow palette in my collection that represents fun. If I were to pick an eyeshadow palette that represents fun, it probably would be the Midas Cosmetics Flower Bomb palette. Now they did change the outer packaging. The new outer packaging I like much more than this one. I am an affiliate, so if you do buy something from Midas Cosmetics, you can save 20% off by using my code GLITTER, and I do receive a small commission from that, and if you use it, thank you so much in advance. But this one is just fun because it's bright, it's got glitters in it, it has a lot going on in it. So this one just screams fun to me. This is like your very vibrant, colorful, fun palette. I feel like you kind of have to be a little bit fun with makeup and use this. Last but not least, what represents inspiration in my collection. This was so easy to pick for me, and it is the Be Perfect Cosmetics Carnival Love Tahiti palette. This thing is ginormous. This is probably one of my favorite color stories to date, and every time I look at it I just am inspired and want to use it, and it's just so beautiful. This is the most beautiful colorful palette I think I've ever seen. It's just so up my alley because I love greens and pairing them with purples, but then you also have these vibrant oranges and peachy shades, and so to me this just inspires me so much. Plus some of these shimmers aren't just plain shimmers, some of them are duochromes, and they are nice. I have a lot of videos using this. I think I have a 3 looks 1 palette and a first impressions. Some of the shades are a little bit more difficult to work with, like maybe not so beginner friendly, but oh my gosh, do you see these colors? Every time I look at it, like I want to use it. I want to pick it up and put it all over my face. That's what I want to do with this palette. This is probably forever one of my favorite palettes. I love it so much. I think that is the last question. That is the whole tag. I did my first tag, guys. Do I get a round of applause? Just kidding. I'm so weird. Okay. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you have any of these palettes, if you agree or disagree with the ones that I picked, and I hope to see you guys in my next video. And thank you so much for everything. You guys are awesome, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.